Hey, what is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, we've got an absolutely massive update in regards to the Natalie Ryan lawsuit, and it came to a conclusion that I honestly didn't think we would come to, and I'll do my best to break it all down for you so you know exactly what's going on. This is an article from UltraWorld. Also, I'll link the article in the description below so you guys can check it out as well. UltraWorld's my favorite source for any, disc golf news. In a stunning reversal, the Professional Disc Golf Association dropped the rule barring transgender women from competing in FPO at Elite Series events and majors unless they had undergone their gender reassignment prior to going through puberty, the organization announced on Friday afternoon. So the PDGA agreed that if someone went through a transition before they went through puberty, then they could play in the FPO division as a trans athlete. Now, basically, that is no longer the case. The rule change that they came to, which goes into effect on January 1st and will be in place through at least the end of the 2025 season, immediately makes Natalie Ryan and other transgender women who have gone through at least 2 years of hormone therapy eligible to compete in FPO at all PDGA events. So now trans athletes, as long as they've gone through 2 years of hormone replacement, can officially compete in the FPO field. And this is a massive difference versus the previous rule. The PDGA's decision to drop the controversial clause in the gender eligibility rules comes as a part of a settlement with Ryan, who agreed to drop all pending lawsuits against the organization in California and Minnesota. Other terms of the settlement have not been made public. We'll take a quick look at Natalie Ryan's Instagram post. I'm excited to announce that the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA and I have reached an agreement. All trans women will be equals at the elite level again. This is my victory. I had to be ruthless to get them to listen. I'm glad I can put that side of myself away. Now I'm hopeful that our sport can start fresh and grow to be a place that truly welcomes and celebrates everyone. I can't express how thankful I am to all my supporters and sponsors for sticking with me this year. I wouldn't have made it to the finish line alone. This is your victory too. Have a lovely holiday and a wonderful new year. And this is the post. This time last year, I had a very different outlook on life and our sport. I was in one of the lowest places in my life. After the PDGA effectively banned me from the tour, I almost walked away from the game, but I kept thinking, if I don't fight for my future, who will? I found a lawyer. He and I worked tirelessly to get our case going in California. The fight was incredibly taxing. By the time the OTB rolled around, I was burnt out. The week of the event, I had to attend a hearing to see if I'd be allowed to play. I watched as some of my fellow competitors sat across the aisle, hoping the judge would give them a chance to smear me on the stand. I'm forever grateful that he did not. The next 48 hours will live with me forever. I was granted the right to compete, only to have my life ripped apart a few hours later. The Disc Golf Pro Tour acted in bad faith and withheld critical information on the case. When I started working on my case, I was adamant this fight would not change me. I left California certain I would never be the same. So, anyway, let's get back to the rest of the video. Natalie Ryan has already signed up for the 2024 tour card and intends to play at most Disc Golf Pro Tour and major events. I'm excited to announce that the PDGA, DGPT, and I have reached an agreement. Ryan wrote on Instagram, all trans women will be equals at the elite level again. This is my victory. I had to be ruthless to get them to listen. I'm glad I can put that side of myself away. Now I'm hopeful that our sport can start fresh and grow to be the place that truly welcomes and celebrates everyone. It has been an honor and a privilege to represent Natalie in this matter, which has now been resolved to her satisfaction, said Ryan's lawyer, Brian Siaka. I look forward to watching her play this year without carrying the weight of the litigation in her heart and in her mind. The PDGA and DGPT incurred significant legal expenses fighting Ryan's lawsuits. They took losses in Minnesota State Court, California District Court. Though the latter decision was overruled on appeal, after the preserve, the DGPT said they would be canceling the FPO division at multiple upcoming tournaments due to potential legal liability and serious financial concerns, but later reinstated FPO and allowed Ryan to play at those tournaments under a United Series designation. So the PDGA and DGPT threatened to just cancel the FPO division altogether. And I actually think that this is something that over the course of the next 2 years, I think is a serious possibility, because the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA, if they were willing to threaten that in the past, instead of letting Natalie Ryan and other trans athletes play in the FPO division, if that was on the table before, it's going to be on the table now. Again, we don't know all the details of the settlement, so maybe there's some sort of agreement that states they won't be able to do that. But I would honestly think that the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA would definitely go down that route again if possible, and that's definitely a possibility that I think would be on the table. The PDGA is not financially or logistically in a position to take the lead in a multi-state litigation on this topic, wrote PDGA in a statement. For the first time in recent memory, the PDGA will end the year with a net operating loss and is not in the best interest of our members to continue to allocate the resources to further litigation. So all of those PDGA member fees that we all paid this year basically went straight to the legal fees for this lawsuit, and they still wound up at a net loss for the first time ever. The PDGA said they stood by the decision to implement the pre-puberty rule prior to the 2023 season, but it has become apparent that the law is not settled on the issue. The PDGA still maintains restrictions on transgender women who want to compete in the female-only division, including a testosterone limit and a 2-year hormone replacement requirement. The DGPT is further restricting transgender women at their events to have undergone male-to-female gender-affirming surgery, the organization said in a statement. While the DGPT did not wish to see adjustments to the policy at this time, the tour recognized the PDGA as the regulating authority and the governing body of the sport, empowered to set these policies, said the DGPT press release. It's become clear that the sport of disc golf cannot bear the weight of adjudicating this issue on a national or international level at this time. Both the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA said they would continue to evaluate the local, state, and federal laws, as well as the International Olympic Committee guidance on this issue as they plan for competition rules in 2026 and beyond. So honestly, I thought this whole thing was going to get squashed. I thought they were going to come to the conclusion that Natalie Ryan would be ineligible to play in Elite Series Disc Golf Pro Tour events in the FPO division. But that's the exact opposite of what actually happened. What actually happened is over the next 2 years, Natalie Ryan and all other male to female trans athletes will be able to compete in the FPO division, compete for major titles. And I think the disc golf world is going to be extremely displeased with the decision. People are going to be very upset about where this thing came to a conclusion to. And I'm really curious to see where it goes. Is the Disc Golf Pro Tour and the PDGA going to cancel the FPO division again? I think the whole division is in jeopardy of being completely canceled for the next 2 years. But I can't wait to hear what the other FPO players think, particularly Katrina Allen, Kristen Tatar, Paige Pierce. I feel like we know where she stands. She's just going to say everything's great, everything's magical, and everything's floating marshmallows. Kristen Tatar is going to be a bit more down to earth and more of a neutral stance. And then Katrina Allen, I think, is going to give us like the most aggressive anti-stance. So I'm really curious to see, what all the statements contain. And I also wouldn't be surprised if this drove Katrina Allen to retirement. But anyway, I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. You are watching Iceberg TV, and take care.